I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I'm Game Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, and many more cool things I find to be in the same realm of business and creative ventures, including micro ventures, and this episode is all about that. This episode is 178, so close to 180. A small milestone, but a huge milestone at the same time. And this episode is all about sticking with it, or keeping something that you started, keeping the same thing going even when things are not that well or great in your mind, or if they're not going as well as you want them to be doing. Before I get into the episode, a huge thank goes to my Patreon supporters who make this podcast possible. Without you, I wouldn't have the wind in my back to continue making these episodes, and I'm really grateful for all of your donations and support I get from Patreon. Everyone else, please check out my Patreon supporters on the description, or better said, in the description below, and see their NFT projects, websites about movies, YouTube channels, Twitch streams, games, and so much more, all of which is exceedingly cool. Now, 178 episode, and it's about sticking with it. Now, what is it? It is basically whatever you might be doing, any kind of a venture or process or any undertaking that you're currently into. Continue doing it, stick with it. End of motivational talk. It's simple, it's very easy to comprehend, but at the same time it's really important, because it showcases just how essential it is to keep on the projects, keep going with the projects that you start, even though if they might be fluctuating and not doing as well as you'd like. Now, this applies to basically anything: learning a new language, learning a new skill, working out physically in the gym, or running, whatever it might be. But it applies most of all to any kind of side venture, additional business, or idea you want to explore and develop. Even things like artistic ventures, like building an installation, writing a novel, painting a picture, or whatever you might be doing, creating music. You have to stick with it if you want to see it work. You'll get an information from this person or another person that you should drop it. It might not be directly framed like that, but it would be a version of the idea. Hey, did you consider maybe not doing this anymore? You're going to get that a lot more than you're going to get keep on going, keep on doing. And even when you get those, you'll probably think they're shallow and nonsensical and don't help you at all. Why is that? Well, because that's the nature of human condition. We're too quick to determine that something from somebody else is not going to work, while things that we work on are seen in a different light. However, what is permanent is your ability to stick with it. Now, I'm all about microventures. Microventures is actually a concept I presented in my book, The Pursuit of Micro Success. You can find it on Amazon, where I explore the notion of creating small businesses or small business ventures that are basically online, that are one person show, so it's just you, and they can be based on pretty much anything you're into or interested in. So it can be whatever your hobby or passion or interest is, and they allow you to kind of build something with basically zero investment apart from your time and determination to keep providing that venture with the same amount of time, which is actually a fixed amount of time. It's not something that rises or falls, but it's something that kind of is there to be there in the long run. A basis for any microventure is to be able to stick with it. So that would be kind of my blank suggestion for you, especially considering that we're probably entering into a pretty challenging part of our modern world, which is currently the notion that the economy isn't doing well, the global economy, and that things could get even more slippery when the 2024 period comes around. If you want to see something succeed, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a venture, it doesn't have to be business, you have to stick with it. even when you're not feeling about to it, if you're not feeling all about super optimistic, all about super positive about the future of the venture, still stick with it. It's going to pay off in one way or another, and it is essential for you to be there, quote unquote, when that success, even if it's a micro success, takes place, because it is so essential, not just for that venture in particular, but your whole outlook on the same processes and why they are so essential, so important in the life of pretty much anyone who is successful in any meaningful way. It can be a small level success, it can be something that is huge and ginormous and really exponentially big compared to everyday normal people, whatever their job might be or wherever they might live. Because if you stick with it, you can continue sticking with it on bigger and bigger things, and that will be success sooner or later. And Microventures, my book, The Pursuit of Micro Success, is more or less all about it, but other concepts are also there to kind of present a very similar idea and present it in a manner that is acceptable to anyone. And that's it. Stick with it. Nothing more to it. It's not complicated, but it's not easy either. So my suggestion, my thought for this week, my advice would be to just stick with it, and I hope you can do it as well. And that's the same suggestion for me, actually, and that's what I plan to do with all of my ventures, stick with them in the coming period. That's all for me. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for listening. Again, a huge thanks goes to my Patreon supporters. Without them, this podcast, this channel more or less, would not be possible, and it's great to have you around. Patreon supporters, again, a big thanks to all of you. If you would like to support me as well, you people who are not my Patreon supporters, please check out my Patreon page. There are other means how you can support me. You can buy my book on Amazon, which is The Pursuit of Micro Success, and other books which are also on Amazon. The link is in the description below. You can send me money directly through PayPal or crypto, and the simplest, easiest and cheapest way to support me is to simply subscribe to my channel and like this video. That's all for me. Again, big thanks for listening, for being here. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you in precisely 7 days from now. Until then, bye bye.